host, Doreen Steenland, and today I'd like to welcome our guest, Dawn Whitestone. What have you noticed about those who seek out counseling or coaching for stress?
Well, Doreen, many people who seek out counseling or coaching for stress are anxious about things that aren't life or death. But I think for medical professionals, it's different. When you're in the medical field, your decisions can be life or death for people, and that is a lot of pressure.
Yes.
So, and the thing is, what stress does to us is it tends to be dehumanizing, and it's dehumanizing for us, for our clients, and even for our families because we bring all of that stress home with us. So a lot of that is because the demands that place on us work against the design of our brains. Our brains prioritize relationship, but our jobs demand results. And so it's important for us to focus on remaining human in our interactions, whether it's at work or with ourselves or with our families.
Oh, wow. You just said a mouthful there. So yes, yes, and yes. I believe that medical professionals are do need to do their best, but also, there's difficulty when things don't go exactly as planned internally for them. They're really high achievers and have a hard time accepting that they're human sometimes because their mistakes are so much more glaring, I should say, more glaring, and can be detrimental to their patients. So I love that you said that they need to remember to be human. And so, how can medical professionals stay human with their patients and with their coworkers?
Well, part of this is working with the design of our brains. And so there's a wonderful book that I would like to recommend for the people who are listening. It's called Building Bounce by Marcus Warner and Stephanie Hinman. Yeah. And so if you want the background for a lot of the practical tools that I'm going to be sharing today, that would be a great book to read. And one of the things I love about Dr. Warner, who is the primary author on this, is he's great at taking complex concepts and ideas like how your brain works and making it understandable. So this is an easy read, and yet there's also a lot of science in it that helps us understand why it's important to do things like, everyone who talks about stress talks about breathing. Well, why is breathing so important? Well, it has to do with the vagus nerve and how our brains and our bodies are designed. And I don't want to go into all the science behind that, so I will point people to the book. But what I love to do is share the how-tos. So Dr. Warner is really great at at understanding the complexities. I'm the workshop leader. So a lot of times we will tag team and he'll present the concepts and then I'll say, okay, here's how we're going to put this into practice. So that's what I want to share with you today.
Perfect. I love that because you are the practical gal. And yes. So that is exactly what we're doing here. We're going to go practical today. So we're talking here about how medical professionals practically can stay human. So where do you want to go with this?
Well, I'd like to talk today about, first of all, staying human at work with our clients or patients.
Yes.
And then how to keep ourselves human, how to treat ourselves well and take care of ourselves. And then also how to do this at home.
Okay.
And so if we start with work, because that's where a lot of the stress comes from, I like to picture a target. And I don't know if your listeners know who Simon Sinek is, but yes. Simon Sinek does this wonderful YouTube video where he talks about starting with why and something called the golden circle. And he talks about how if if you draw these circles, they look an awful lot like a target. The outer circle is what, which is what most of us can, it's what we can see and it's easy to focus on. And as you go in, it's what on the outside and then how and then why. Well, I taught that for a long time and I realized there's actually one more circle on the inside, and that's the who circle. And so if we aim for the center of that target, then it helps us to connect with the person as a person and not as a problem or as a case. And so I always remind myself when I feel my relational circuits starting to go off and I'm, dehumanizing. All right, who, why, how, what? I need to think in those terms. Who, why, how, what? Because who is at the center. And when I can remember that people are people and not problems, that helps. And so one of the ways that we do that is using the acronym CAKE. And CAKE stands for curiosity, appreciation, kindness, and eye contact. And this is one of the things that is discussed in Building Bounce. But when we are curious, it helps us to want to know something about that person. So if you have your 17th patient of the day is in your office and they're looking more like a problem than a person, if you can remember to get some cake, it can help. So what is something you're curious about this person? Maybe it's, I wonder why they chose to wear those shoes today. But being curious about them as a person, not just about what their problems are. Appreciation. And that can be an appreciation about the person in front of you or about anything. Maybe you just need to look out the window for a moment and appreciate that, oh, the sky is beautiful today. The sky is blue. And I'm so glad there's a tree outside of my window instead of another building, or anything that you can find to be appreciative about. It helps flip those relational circuits back on so that people are people and not problems. Kindness. Can I get you a glass of water? Anything that we can do to be kind to someone helps keep them human and keeps us in that part of our brain where we're remembering to be human. And then eye contact. When we can truly look someone in the eyes and let them know, I see you. And when we're listening to them and we are truly hearing what they have to say, we are attuning with them. And attuning also can help us walk through this who, why, how, what process. All right, okay, so that's the who.
Wait. Let's just stop there for a second, because that was too good. So what you're saying is that we can't be having our mind in one place and not being fully present with the person in front of us. Because what I see a lot of is multitasking going on. Right? And so maybe you're a doctor and you're writing something and you're looking at the chart, or you're looking at the computer and you're talking to the client outside, right? The patient, I should say. That takes away that humanness part, right? Because we're not making eye contact. We're not connecting with them as a person. And this is a huge thing for safety for somebody, right? They need to connect with you and feel safe. And that encourages them to be maybe vulnerable and authentic and really share what's happening instead of hiding. Like, we've all been interviewed by the doctors and they say, do you drink? Oh, no, not me. But really the patients are drinking a glass of wine a night or something, but they don't feel safe to say that, right? So making that eye contact and really connecting and giving your full attention creates more vulnerability, where it's a safe place for that client to be honest with you about their signs and symptoms. It creates a place for them to be open
Mhm.
to an interaction instead of
Very much
feeling like
so.
a problem.
Yes. And I'll tell you, the advent of electronic medical records just decimated our ability to do that. I remember going to an urgent care clinic, and I don't think the nurse practitioner looked at me once. She was so busy filling out the checklist on the computer that she never made eye contact with me. And I felt like an object rather than a person.
Mm.
And so just and it doesn't necessarily take that long, but it's making that connection that comes from looking in someone's eyes and listening to what they have to say in a way that lets them know that you really are connected with them.
Yeah. And even taking that moment to smile, right? The
Mhm.
smile is almost like this whole concept we've been exploring through this summit is a glad to be with you smile, right? And
Mhm.
that creates this warmth that that connects us to the portion of our brain where good things happen.
Mhm. Yes. I like to say it puts you in your right mind.
There you go. I love
Which
that.
is very literal. You're in your right orbital prefrontal cortex.
Yes.
And which is when that part of our brain is active, our whole brain is engaged,
Mhm.
and we're able to think more creatively. We have access to all of the information and all of the relational information. It's all there. But when our relational circuits are off, then we don't have access to our whole brain. So these skills that we are teaching and that help us to stay human, as I've been putting it, really are about keeping our whole brain engaged, which makes us better medical professionals.
Yes. And so what I'm hearing you say is that if we're not using our whole brain, we're missing things.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing little pieces of data and information that might be coming through body language, that might be coming from other areas because we're not attuned to that information.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I interrupted you. You were you were telling us about cake. And so can you remember where you were?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
we had been talking through the target, and the
Yes.
middle of the target is who.
Yes.
And all of that was about connecting with the who that's in front of you, the person at the heart level. So then the next level out is why. And why is all about purpose. So why are they here? What is their greatest need right now? And if we're tuning to them and we've let them know, I see you, I hear you, the why is about, I understand. I understand how big this is for you. I understand how hard this is, whatever this is. And so who, and then why, and then the third circle out
Can
is
I
how.
interrupt you for a second? Because that
Absolutely.
why, let's just stop at that why for a second. Because I have a little story. I'm organizing this summit and I had something to share with somebody. And I shared it with them, but I never felt heard.
Mm.
Okay. And that created this problem inside, right? Because it creates this distance. And I did feel like a problem and I didn't feel heard. And that relationship, because of that, struggled.
Mhm.
So these are such important things that you're saying, right? It's the who and then the why, and just getting curious about that why, when you feel heard, there's an
Yes.
empathy, there's a connection, there's this understanding that's almost this mutual mind understanding, right? It's this unspoken understanding that, oh, they get me.
Hmm.
They understand what's happening with me. whew, I can breathe now. I can relax.
Yes, and you can see that. Just like
Yes.
for any of those who are watching the video, you sat back and your shoulders relaxed and everything just sort of went, ah,
Yes.
and so you can see when someone feels understood.
Yes.
And very often, we have this process that we call VCR, validate, comfort, recover.
Mhm.
And the problem is, problem solving is the second step in the process. The first step is validation, and validation is the I see you, I hear you, I understand,
Yeah.
and so when we can listen to somebody and communicate back to them that yes, I'm meeting you right where you're at, then they feel like, okay, maybe this person really can help me. And so the steps in the process are important. When we jump to solving the problem first, people feel like a problem to be solved rather than like a person with whom to be engaged. And so that I see you, I hear you, I understand you is very important, and it doesn't have to take very long. That's
No.
one of the amazing things about a lot of these skills, is they can usually be done pretty quickly when you do them right. But if you don't do the process in order, or if you try to skip the actual connection,
Mhm.
things don't work.
Yes.
And
So they don't take, it doesn't take a long time. It
mhm,
just takes intention.
yes, pain and intention and attention
Yes.
and engagement. We have to engage with people as people, but that does take energy, and sometimes we feel too tired. The amazing thing is that when we really do connect with people, we get something back from that engagement, and it tends to be more energizing. It's so much more fun to work in an environment where you are doing something that matters, and you feel it, and
Yes.
so that's part of this is why we talk about staying human,
Mhm.
is that remaining human process, that putting that little extra energy into the human connection actually has a return on investment that's good for us.
Whoa, that was huge, guys. Let's recapture that, because it's not just about giving someone else more, because right now you're
Right.
feeling drained and you feel like you have nothing left. But what Dawn is trying to tell us is that when we take the time to do that and connect, we actually get back
Mhm.
that energy, and it just fills our I'll use a phrase from a book I read once, your love tank, right?
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
fills your love tank, it fills your energy, it rejuvenates you, it energizes you. So you get to get something by making this connection with your patients. And I say clients because right now I'm in a coaching mode, but with your patients, when you make that connection, so many positive things happen and you get back. Wow. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. I won't interrupt you again. I can't promise that.
Oh, no, please do, because it provides that clarification, and I can get on a roll and just keep going. So we've talked about the center of the target is who, and then we go to why, purpose. I see you, I hear you, I understand,
Mhm.
and then the third circle out is how. Well, how can I help? And that how circle communicates I am with you. All right, so I'm with you. I'm in this. And then the what is, well, what's the treatment plan? Here's how I can help you, and here's how you can help yourself. Here's what you need to do. But that what aspect, that's the part we can see. That's the part that logistically seems the easiest to deal with. But when people are in pain, they need to be connected with first, and they need to feel safe and like you're with them, and then you can help lead them where they need to go. It's amazing what people will do when they have a connection with somebody. um, Dr. Jim Wilder tells a story about recovery. and about addiction. And he says they've done studies that show that you can give addicts all kinds of training in their addiction and they won't get better. But you can put them, give them training, but don't connect with them relationally, and it doesn't help. But you can put them with someone relational who teaches them to bake cookies, and they will get better. So
Wow.
it's less about the information and more about that relational connection. And when that's what I love about that book, Building Bounce,
Yeah.
is that when we understand how our brains are designed, and that the relational part of our brain is in charge,
Yes.
and runs the show, it helps us to understand why this is important, and how we can put these things into practice in a way that really isn't hard. It just takes intention and attention, as you said.
Yes.
And after we've done this for about a month, if you get in the habit of operating this way, after about a month, it will feel very natural and it will be fun.
Yeah. I love that. Oh boy. Those
Mhm.
those are nuggets right there. I mean, we are talking about changing the way we're doing things, but with tiny little shifts.
Yes.
It's not a big overhaul. This is not something big. And I feel like many of our medical professionals are running in survival mode. And
Mhm.
because of that, they're missing this little piece in the beginning that
Mhm.
would change everything, not only for their patients, but for them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I can't believe we have been talking for quite some time. So I want to just ask you, do you have any last minute tips or tricks that you want to share with us?
Sure. Let me just share the ABCs. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
If you want to work on yourself, and whether you're taking care of you, or taking care of you and someone else, this works in your family as well. But ABC: appreciation, breathing, and connecting.
Wow.
Okay. So appreciation. If you can take 5 minutes
Hmm.
and find something to appreciate, or a series of things, and feel it in your body. And while you're doing that, deep breathing. Breathing, as I mentioned earlier, there's a nerve in your body called the vagus nerve that is a controlling nerve, and it controls heart rate and digestion and all kinds of things. And the part of that we have control over is our breathing. So
Yes.
when we take time to slow our breathing and breathe deeply, it slows our heart rate. It helps improve our digestion. It makes us feel better all the way around. And so that's one of the reasons that everybody you talk to about stress will mention breathing. So if you will take time to be appreciative, slow your breathing, and then connections. We just talked about connecting with patients, but you can use those tips to connect with anybody. And whether you're connecting with people or connecting with God, I like to say pray and play.
Yeah.
Those are the ways that you connect. You connect with God through prayer, you connect with people through play. Find a way to have fun. Tell a quick joke, smile at somebody with one of those mischievous smiles, and just see what they do. Have some fun. And it will make a huge difference in your energy level, and your ability to think clearly, and to do your job and love your family.
Oh, that is so good. Okay, but you dropped a nugget that needs a little explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the beginning, you said about almost feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about that?
Sure. So, as human beings, we can come up with a list of things we appreciate without feeling it, and then we're not in the right part of our brain. Okay. So the way you can know that you're truly activating your whole brain is by paying attention to how your body responds to what you appreciate. So when you do breathe deeply and slowly, and you're trying to be appreciative, what happens? Do your shoulders relax? Do your toes uncurl? I used to have a massage therapist who would say, relax your forehead, relax your throat. And it was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that was tense, but it was. So, how your body reacts to appreciation is how you know you're actually doing it in a way that is helping your brain and helping you to de stress. Does that
So
make sense?
good. Yes, so good, because I love the distinction you made about we can do it with head knowledge,
Hmm.
right? But it's not really fully part of us in our heart and flowing out through our actions.
Hmm.